At the end of the day, I truly believe to grow totally and purely, it all comes from the past. And I follow the school, the Ottoman empires, the Roman empires, and all these guys that you mentioned their names, they all studied these people. And that's actually how we move forward.
Reasons on why you should click on the link below. Number 1, you could get up to a 50% guaranteed scholarship. Number 2, you could get up to a 50% guaranteed scholarship. And number 3, you could get up to a 50% guaranteed scholarship. What the are you waiting for? Do it now.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Dollar Diaries. Today we have an amazing guest, a very special guest who is the author of this beautiful book, Unleash the Alpha, and his name is Seif El Hakim. Seif, how are you doing?
Awesome as always. Thank you very much for having me.
Seif, before we get started, wanted to get your autograph on the book.
Man, my pleasure.
It's quite a sweet moment.
Ooh.
Have you done a book signing before?
Not yet. I'm
Not yet.
planning to do in UK, October-ish.
October. Okay.
Yeah.
Who did you get published through? Sotheby's?
No, I got published here with a company called Uhibbi.
Or Hibbi?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And in the UK, I don't remember.
Okay.
But October, because it's my first book, so I'm testing waters. You know,
Mm.
you need to test water of the whole value chain.
Have you seen the sales explode actually?
You know, it's at the end of the day, you're doing the book for an authoritarian thing rather than whatever. You're not going to be rich with the book.
Yeah, so it's mainly marketing
It's
for
a
your
marketing
entire
tool. It's a
program.
marketing tool.
Yeah,
An
okay.
authoritarian thing. I'll try to do something different with the next book because this is more about my story into more principles.
Mm.
The other one is going to be more technical, not techie, but technical.
Yeah, this reminded me a bit of, Jordan Peterson.
Of course.
So his 12 Principles,
Of
his
course,
book.
yeah.
This was quite similar to that.
More.
In that sense, yeah.
I follow their school actually.
Really?
Like there are a couple of people I follow this type of
Interesting.
school.
Okay.
Like Robert Greene, for example, I'm a big fan of him. Like
I haven't heard of
48 Laws of Power.
Yeah,
Funny
I've heard
Rules
of
by Robert Greene, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
So this kind of where you have maxims for life, and you decide, okay, these are the principles I'm going to follow.
True.
That's what I'm going to subscribe.
And they're all
to.
like out of Scotic Roman empires,
Yeah.
the
Like
Ottoman
Meditations,
empires.
Marcus Aurelius.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
I get you.
these all follow this kind of school, and it's the school that I actually follow.
But it does seem like your entire program, like everything that you stand for, is based on those Stoic principles, almost, right?
100%.
Bringing that into modernity
True.
and bringing that into the
100%.
modern life.
It
Yeah.
resonates with me so much. You know, when you read about them, you read their history. Yeah, oh my God, you feel the flow. So you feel that your DNA is like them.
Like a warrior or a gladiator.
Yeah.
But do you feel like, has that been tough in transitioning that to your life in this modern day and age?
Absolutely. You know, I'll tell you something very interesting. It's not like I'm reading their books or watching their biographies and suddenly I want to change towards that type of thing.
Mhm.
I am like that, and then when you read them, oh my God,
It clicks.
it clicks. I
Right.
follow the same philosophy. I have the same values, principles, and beliefs. Then you feel the flow easy passing through.
Right. So it's almost like coming home, like finding something you belong to.
Exactly. Because you know, a lot of things that you see these days, you feel it's so much artificial
Mhm.
and fake. Whatever the books that you're reading, the courses that you're taking, we're all like to develop ourselves, correct? But at the end of the day, I truly believe to grow totally and purely, it all comes from the past. And I follow the school, the Ottoman empires, the Roman empires, and all these guys that you mentioned their names, they all studied these people. And that's
fair.
actually how we move forward. And these people actually succeeded because of these kind of principles and values, regardless the time frames.
No, that's fair. They do say that there's not a single problem in today's day and age that hasn't been solved before.
Exactly.
You just have to read about it.
True.
We see that in finance as well, right? Like whatever happened before typically
Absolutely.
tends to, it's all cycles, right?
Economic cycle.
Yes, cycles and waves, like there's always an up and down and up and down,
Absolutely.
right? So whatever you've facing today is probably happened 20 or 25 years ago for sure.
And you know, like, if we talk about problems in general, a lot of people tell you that, oh my God, I have a lot of problems, and like, shit, I'm not succeeding because of these problems. But the term problem means there is a solution. It's not a dead end. And rather than when you said about the problem, of course there is a solution, but you need to adapt this mindset. I'm going to find a solution. Okay, there is a problem. It's not, oh shit, there is a problem. No, what am I going to do about it?
Right. But this relates to something you've mentioned a couple of times, because we have looked into it a bit, and you've said that you can't be a product of your circumstance, right? You have to rise above your circumstances.
100%.
And do you believe that in every situation, every aspect of life?
100%. Rising above the circumstances means I'm taking responsibility of whatever I'm in. And once you embrace this kind of mindset, you will 100% succeed. So whatever happens to me, it's not like, oh my God, this is disaster. No, okay, what I'm going to do about it? What is next? And what I'm going to do about it with a lot of leverages. At the end of the day, we're humans. Like, I'm going to handle it on my own, which means with my knowledge, skills, and experience, I'm going to find the problem and solve it. Or I'm going to leverage other people, right? Like my mentors, my coaches, my partners, man, and. So either way, you will find a solution. But you need to embrace the mindset, regardless what's happening, there is a solution to it.
And I've read this quite a lot in your book, right? Like the victim of circumstance, right? Like you can't be a victim of this. There are always solutions to your problems.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might be extreme. Sometimes it may not need an extreme testing. But when you talk about circumstances, how do you define circumstances? What do you mean by circumstances in your definition?
Whatever, I can give you zillions. Why I was born in Egypt. Oh my God. No. Why I'm born in Egypt? Okay, what I'm going to do about it? I'm going to apply for an MBA.
Okay.
I'm going to be headhunted by Samsung. I'm going to work internationally. I'm going to develop myself. So I didn't just get stuck into where I am. And zillions of things. Why I got bankrupt? Oh shit. It's not something nice ever, but it happened. Okay, what I'm going to do about it? That's a circumstance. So whatever you face, try to switch it to what I'm going to do about it. It's not like why it happened to me. Even now I have guys who are entrepreneurs at the end of the day. You get hit right, left, and center every single day, correct? I can sit and cry, right? Like why God it happened to me. Zillions of things. And it can happen at the same time. From a medical condition, from a business perspective, from a financial, and all hits you at the same time. You can sit down and cry, or okay, what I'm going to do about it?
Right, this is a very pragmatic way of thinking, right?
True.
It's separate your emotions from the circumstance.
And it's hard.
Yeah, exactly. And try to see what you can do to move forward or overcome, right? And what we've noticed, or I guess what I've noticed with you've built an audience, you've built a sort of a following, a tribe almost of people who want to subscribe to these ideals in their life and move forward, right? And what do you say to someone, for example, just in this particular happenstance, what would you say if they've gone through an extreme tragedy, right? Would you say, okay, forget about it and move forward, or take a moment, have a bit of compassion? Like where do you draw the line between cold pragmatism and having a bit of compassion?
That's a lovely question, actually. When I was younger, forget about it and move forward.
Right.
Super cold. Doesn't matter. Okay. Doesn't matter the stakeholders in this kind of problem. By getting older, which means getting wiser and getting the experience, no. Pause for a moment. Reflect on what's happening. But don't dwell too much. There is a saying called, when you get hit, you have the response time. Before, when I used to get hit, I said like, okay, sit and reflect. Take a pause. This pause could take me a week. Then I worked on myself. Make this week, couple of days. Then a day. And then move forward. But you need to acknowledge. The next important thing, we are really drained down with our thoughts. And I'm a strong believer, once you control this, you control the end game. So that's why when people tell you the negativity, don't listen to negativity, take care of your circle, because it always starts with the thought, what's running into your head. And that's your belief system, correct?
Absolutely.
So what you think, what's your thoughts is what you think out of it. And what you think is what makes you make an action. And what, according to the action, you get the results that you want, right? So a result linked to initially the thought. So if I have a problem, something happened to me, and my thought is all negative about it, my action will not get me out of it.
Absolutely.
But if it's a negative, if it's a bad circumstances, yes, it is bad. I acknowledge it. I understand. And maybe it's my mistake. I made the wrong decision. I acknowledge it, but okay, what's the positive side of it? Let me tackle it from here.
And by your measure, do you feel that whatever you've done so far, has it been successful for you?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Mm.
I mean, like, if I measure success and failure, of course I failed much more.
Mm.
Of course I failed much more. But I didn't stop.
And how do you measure success? What is your metric for
It depends,
success?
you know, like by age.
For you,
At what age?
right now.
No, like let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
20. I
Mm.
want to be rich like hell.
Okay.
I want to buy everything that is materialistic.
Mm.
It doesn't matter. The car, the watch, the house, the best vacation, That's when I was young.
Mm.
But then the problem that I faced, and I'm good in reflection, that my ego drove very high, and I started losing people that supported me to grow. The friends, the family, the colleagues. The ego was very super high and made me blind. I was CMO of Samsung at early 30s
Mm.
of an organization that turns $3 billion a year. And I was young, which means I'm not used to this. But once I reached this point, again, ego blind, so I start to lose everyone. By that time, I start to reflect, no, that's wrong. I lost a lot of people around me. The family around me was not that happy, and that's the important part of my life. There is something wrong. Then everything's changed. So I started materialistic. And then now, if I say what is success for me, is to make my family comfortable and happy and build a legacy that stays long after I'm gone. And once I'm done with this, that's success for me.
Correct. And do you see, like, especially, right, like materialism is a huge problem in Dubai, right? Like if everybody wants to show bling,
it is.
right? Drive the most fanciest car possible. Materialism is one. And the other thing is that a lot of people love publicity in this country,
Yeah.
right? Ghazala's made an entire career of making people
True.
famous, right? Like that is her career, right? Like we're seeing such a boom in this, and all of these require hard work. Even if you want to buy the best watch in town, or want to buy the most beautiful car in town,
True.
there is a hard work to it. But I feel like I don't know, this is maybe a personal feeling, right? I do see a lot of people have this fake it till I make it sort of an
Yes,
attitude.
there are.
Do you observe that, and do you think that is the right way to do it, or do you see there is a fundamental flaw in the fake it till you make it sort of a perspective?
If I'm able to spend on the fancy cars, the fancy watches, and, there is no wrong with this. Okay? I'm able to buy the best house. I'm able to buy the best car. There is no need to be greedy or like, what you call it?
Conjuice.
Stingy on myself.
Mm.
It's part of life. I want to enjoy it. The problem is when you're not able and you put yourself in a situation that you put yourself into debt, financial situation that you cannot manage, just to show it to the other people that you're worth it.
Hmm.
Correct? And that's the problem. That's what I not support. Do I see a lot of people these days doing it, especially in the city that we live in? 100%. 100%.
Hmm.
Sometimes you say like, okay, they look like this, but empty pockets.
Mm.
This is, I would say it would work 10 years back.
Hmm.
Generations moving forward, the Z's, the Alphas, and we can spot you.
Hmm.
You understand? Like you can rent a car, you can go into debt for 1 year, 2 years, but you will break. You understand?
Yeah.
You are here for the long game. We will spot your authenticity. So 10 years ago when the social media was not there that much, you could pass. You understand? People will see you once in a while, but now people see you regularly.
Hmm.
And your authenticity will appear. So will it make it these days? Absolutely not. We say here also, like we face a lot in our business, that we see people that right away you spot from the way they speak. You cannot be successful when you're empty. You cannot be successful when you're shallow. When I carry a conversation with you, for example, let's say you are an investor, as an example, and across all over social media, you are a bomba investor, correct?
Okay.
When I come and ask you, what are the criterias that you do or you have for investing in projects? And your answer is, I do a Zoom call with them. Doesn't fit
Yeah.
the image that you portray, correct? So you're spotted. So your credibility is gone. So whatever the watch, the car, the you have, it's done. So you cannot fake it until you make it. Back then again, you could because the exposure was less.
Why do you think people do it still? Like from you would have come across a lot of
Of
people,
course, jealousy.
especially.
Of course. Do you think it's the fastest way to success?
Mm.
Let me show that I'm successful so I can grab the business from you. You understand? Like I am a success, whatever coach. And look at my watch, look at my shoes, look at my car. I want to be like you.
Well, I mean, okay, so this might be a long one, but based on what you're saying, right? Don't you feel like the margin for failure has shrunk down over time? Like 10, 20 years ago, when social media wasn't as prevalent, you could do whatever it is you wanted to do and fail a million times and then eventually come out on top. And only the last thing that you did that eventually led to a legacy would be the one that mattered.
Yeah.
But today, in today's day and age, people like me, for example, I'm 23, right? If I do 50 things that I try to make myself succeed with and build a legacy with, the world is watching, right?
Yeah,
and
true.
eventually your reputation takes a beating, right? At some point. And then you look at people like you, for example, who have, alhamdulillah, succeeded and done well in their lives and are telling people how to do well in their lives or explaining to them the principles that they should follow. Don't you feel like it forces our generation to jump the gun, to say, you know what, we'll skip all the failures, we'll skip all the experiences that really built you as a person, but we'll listen to your words and we'll follow what you're saying blindly. Doesn't that not allow them to become their own person?
Just to add on to that, right? Like I see this with quite a thing. Like I see people like, for example, Mark Zuckerberg, right? You know, very simple dressed and everything. And we see the exact opposite, who are equally rich or probably slightly less rich, more rich, plus minus, right? They're all decked out with the fanciest watch and everything, right? Those are two contrasts, but there are so many things you can learn from Mark Zuckerberg and also somebody who's decked out in the most fanciest jewelry, right? So this is where that problem comes. I think at least our generation feels blinded by the watches and the shoes and the cars and everything. So does this feel like when somebody does portray this image, it gives them that mental thing like, hey, if this is success, I want this success. And why shouldn't I have that success? Right? Why shouldn't I be wearing the fanciest watch? Right? And
it's a symbol.
Yeah.
The young generation is taking it a symbol. But let's go backwards a little bit. Yes, back in the days, there was no that much social pressure on us, right? So we're playing in the dark, correct? Now, no. So young generations sees, first of all, you see what's happening around you, but you see the things that I want you to see, correct?
Exactly.
I'm not showing you the shit part,
Yeah.
correct? And the majority of the people doing the same. And you have the pressure from outside when you do an action and you fail, oh my God, your reputation is gone, correct? The thing here, if you avoid the failure, like for me, when somebody tells me, Seif, what is failure to you? I freaking love it. I'm not saying I'm sitting there, but I love it because if I want to excel at something, I need to freaking fail. So there is no shortcut. The young generation think there is a shortcut. That's the problem. Success doesn't happen overnight. 100%. This generation, previous generation, future generation, it doesn't happen overnight. You need to fail, stand up, fail, fail, and then you will succeed. The problem from the pressures that we have all around, that we think that there is a magic pill, I'm going to do drop shipping, I'm going to earn X dollars per month. I'm going to do crypto, I'm going to be a millionaire next month. I'm going to be a coach or a mentor, and I'm going to be a millionaire, sell my courses. I'm going to be a millionaire next month. No, it takes years. If you cannot sustain failure or embrace failure for a couple of years, literally, you will never be successful. Yes, you can be successful by luck. Correct? You buy Bitcoin. You buy a Bitcoin at $1. Now it's 64,000. Oh my God, you're successful. Correct? But you missed one freaking important thing. The failure builds your character, builds your resilience, your grit. This never been built with success. So when you lose the luck of the Bitcoin and you splash the money and you try to build your success again, it's not going to happen. But now take everything from me. Trust me. Yes, I'm gonna be a little bit sad, but not depressed. I'm gonna freaking build it again. And I know it's gonna take me time. It's not overnight. I know I have another runway of 24 months to build something correctly. This is all the pressures that's happening around us from the social media, from the PR that we glorify everything around us, the success part. But the failure part, which is the important part, we nullify it as if it doesn't exist. So the recommendation, fail big and fail fast.
Absolutely. I think this ties into, there's 2 points I get from this, right? The first one, what you were speaking about being a Stoic and all these people you study, right? In Stoicism, for example, they tell you that you should learn to love the journey and not the success. Because if you celebrate the success much more than you love the journey, you'll never start on the next goal, right?
True.
You want to learn to love the part that takes you there, because then you
100%.
want to do it again and again and again. You can go to the next goal, right? And the second part is, well, if you're an overnight millionaire, you don't know how to sustain it.
Exactly.
Right? You look at the guy who won the
Lotteries.
lottery in the UK,
True.
right? He won 100 million pounds,
Exactly.
in 2012? He lost it in a year.
Exactly.
He went back to being someone who picked up trash on the street.
You know, this is a very good example. And since we're sitting in Dubai, so we're all sitting with air cons. We as humans have a thermostat inside us. Okay? Which means there is a set temperature where the thermostat will on or off, right? Your character is the set temperature. So when you build yourself and your character from the journey, your set of the thermostat is high. But if you're overnight success, you're at a low level. So once you win the 100M and you lose it, the thermostat will go down right away, bring you down to your level. You need to uplift yourself. And that's only through the journey. And the journey has a lot of failures.
And I agree with you on this, 100%. I think we're both in
Yeah.
agreement on this. And so this will lead into my next question, which I think is related to this. What do you describe as your personal brand? Like, what do you bring to your audience? Or what have you built your sort of legacy around?
My personal brand has a couple of pillars to it.
Right.
Okay. One of them is I want to tell each and every one that every human being has an unlimited potential.
Okay.
So whatever you put your mind to, you can achieve. That's part of a personal brand.
That's beautiful.
And that's from me, examples a lot. Okay. Like a guy born in Cairo, left everything, became a CMO of Samsung, then left Samsung, built his own thing. Then throughout the journey, he decided to be Mr. Olympia, made it. You can do whatever you want, literally. That's one thing. The second thing, my personal brand is, which is around an alpha. Okay. Is simply a leader. Okay. That we are, I don't want to say we're tired of followers, but each and every one needs to be a leader within the scope that they decide. I decide to be a leader of a country, then be a leader of a country. Take the burden and the responsibility for it. You want to be a leader in your family, be a leader in your family. But you want to be a leader within your community, be a leader within your community. You need to lead something. You can't be sitting back and following everything that somebody tells you. That's the second. The third is within this personal brand is the support of the youngsters. Like from my experience, from my background, I'll give you all the tools and I will not say strategies, tools and knowledge that help you get into these two things. And that's my whole personal brand is all about.
I have a question about the you have to be a leader aspect of it, right? Do you personally feel, okay, and I'm just playing devil's advocate over here, right? Do you personally
But
feel,
take care.
huh? Do you personally feel, is there anything wrong to just take a back seat? Is it a wrong thing to do to take a back seat?
If you decide that God brought you to life to have to be in a back seat, that's your call. But who drives you?
You need not have a drive. You just want to live.
What do you mean? You're like this?
Let's say I'm taking, again, purely, I disagree with you, but being a devil's advocate, right? Let's say I was born, I didn't ask to be born. I wasn't asked to be born in Dubai. These were out of my circumstances. So the solution is either I move forward,
Okay.
or maybe I just take it chill. You know, I have fun. I enjoy living life. I enjoy reading books, watching movies. Just enjoy life, make enough to satisfy myself. Just enjoy. right? Is it
If
a
this
wrong
is the
thing to
measure,
do?
if this is the measure of the life that you want,
Mm.
if you decide for yourself,
Mm.
that's gonna be the life that I want,
Mm.
the success that I want. That's why I'm saying success is different for you than me. Correct?
Mm.
So if you define it this for you and you're happy with it,
Mm.
go ahead.
But is this something
But-
you would define as mediocre?
No, of course. Then you're living a mediocre life.
Mm.
Never come and complain.
Okay.
Okay, never. You say I'm happy with it.
Mm.
That's what I decide for myself and I choose.
Mm.
But if you complain about it and you say because I'm taking the back seat,
Mm.
so
Fair.
if you're happy with it, absolutely. But at the end of the day, you came to life
Mm.
to lead something. Either you lead your children, you lead your family, you lead your community, you lead your country, you lead the company. Your role as a human, we are builders and leaders. We didn't come just to chill.
Okay.
We came to add value. And that's why we are sitting now talking to the microphone. We have the technology because there are people before us who added value to the community, added value to the industry. That's why you're able to sit on your couch and watch Netflix. If they didn't add value and lead something, you won't be able to say, I need to chill. No, you will be running in the jungles, trying to hunt the deer to have food for your family.
Correct.
Correct?
And your third pillar in terms of adding value to youngsters, right? And helping them train and mold themselves into the kind of people they need to be. Just tell us stories about that. Like, do you have an example that you really keep in your head as, okay, I had this experience with this youngster. It turned this young man or young woman
of course.
into this person,
Of
right?
course.
And that was brilliant, and that taught me as well, because you learn from the people you teach.
Of course.
The best way to learn is by teaching something that you know, right?
True. I started this thing really like 5-6 years back. And I have people with me during this journey. You understand? Like since day one I started, like would say like day one with the exposure.
Mhm.
I've been mentoring a couple of people, especially from Egypt, because they're with me from the early start. I saw them from university. They didn't have a corporate job. They started their own business. I mentored them in their own business. And now I'm not going to say like super successful, but super successful individuals running properly their business. I'm not going to say, because they're going to listen to this, I'm not going to say they were losers, but they were lost. We live in life now that you easily get lost.
Mhm.
Get lost. Why? Because the number one thing to make you fail is the distraction around us. So they were absolutely distracted. They don't know what to do. So they needed a mentor to take their hands throughout the journey. A couple of them from Egypt, really proud of them.
That's beautiful, actually. Yeah.
We were telling what kind of knowledge and experience I'm giving to them. I'm giving them the stuff that I believe these days it's needed.
That's beautiful.
Like I have an online training platform that supports the people with entrepreneurship skills, leadership skills, because I believe leadership is very important. Branding, because personal branding in our era is extremely important. The productivity, because I believe distraction is a killer. We live in an extremely distracted era. And if you can mitigate or cut off the distraction, really you will achieve everything you want. So there are a couple of things that I support the people with. And as I said, one of them running a vending machine company.
A vending machine.
A vending machine company. That's a very interesting business model. The other one running a marketing agency.
Brilliant.
Pretty youngsters. Why I'm saying these examples? Because a lot of people tell me, do you support a person working in corporate or working as an entrepreneur?
That was going to be my next question, right? Because you said that you sort of came up through the ranks in corporates, right? And it built you. It's like running through the gauntlet, learning from people around you, looking at people with more experience, and then starting off by yourself, taking all of that, absorbing it like a sponge, and starting by yourself. And then you said that these young entrepreneurs, these budding, aspiring young professionals from Egypt didn't do that. Yeah. They skipped the corporate bit and they went straight to the entrepreneurial field. So do you think bringing that corporate lifestyle is important as a base?
Okay. Very interesting question, but I have to be very honest in the answer as well. My time when I was back in university, entrepreneurship as a word was ugly. You understand? So I didn't have a choice, a big choice, not to be a corporate person.
Mhm.
If you said in Egypt, go back 20 years plus, I'm an entrepreneur, means like you're nobody. Yeah. You understand? Like you're nobody. Try to go and get married and say to the father of your future wife, yes, sir, I'm an entrepreneur. Take the door and leave. That was the time back then. And there was no these kind of resources around us that can teach me skills, proper skills, that I can be an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
So this being said, one thing people need to think about. The second part, I always say people try the corporate life. Entrepreneurship is never a sexy lifestyle. So if everybody thinks being an entrepreneur is that you will be super rich quickly, your work-life balance is available, it's absolutely not. Entrepreneurship is equal to hell. Only 10% of your journey is being happy, being satisfied, the rest 90%, you're fighting like crazy. That's why I always say, like, being an entrepreneur is like waking up every day, just waking up like this, and you don't know when this thing will collapse or make something. You just keep going. That's entrepreneurship. It's like jumping out of a hill and you're on the way down, you're trying to assemble the parachute. Either you assemble it or you...
I guess it is the fight you choose. Right? It's the hell that you build for yourself.
Exactly. But there are people that cannot take it. So that's why, as an advice, go into corporate. For example, you want to be an entrepreneur, open a marketing agency, right? You can go online, see a lot of gurus, but the problem with now online is what everybody is a guru. So you don't know from where to learn. You will teach me, you will teach me, you will teach me, you will teach me. A lot of people, correct? The credibility now and the trust is so low. So my advice, you want to be an entrepreneur, open a marketing agency, get into a marketing agency. See how things work. See the business model, the processes. And then take all this knowledge and go out, build your own thing. Or if you're not a material type entrepreneur, because you need to be a material type entrepreneur, continue your corporate. There is nothing bad to be a corporate person. Absolutely nothing. They make zillions as well. They make zillions of money if you grew through the ranks, right? They have a work-life balance, amazing. They have everything structured, amazing. It's just what you want. Can you be an entrepreneur? Can you take all these risks on you? Can you take all the stress on you in the first couple of years? And sometimes this couple of years becomes 10. Are you able to do that? That takes personalities and DNA. If you have this in you, are you okay when your bank account is zero? When you cannot pay your rent, you cannot pay your bills? Will you be stressed off and depressed or you can keep moving, finding ways? Entrepreneur is finding ways. Corporate teaches you not so much finding ways.
Keep your head down.
Exactly.
Keep moving.
You have a track you're running on. And let's not say also it's a corporate problem. It's a schooling problem. Why I'm saying schooling problem? When we're in school and we have a test. So I'm sitting on a test, answering the test. If I ask you to help me, I'm going to be considered a cheat, right? So the school will expel me, I'm out, right? But no, in real life, no. When life tests me and I know that you have the answer to my thing, I'll ask for your help, right? And that's an entrepreneur.
Do you inherently feel that this lifestyle, right? Like you wake up every day with sort of like, hey, could it go to hell or could it go to heaven sort of a situation? Do you believe that this is a healthy attitude to have? And to rooting back, right? Because you mentioned a lot about self-care, self-awareness, health, right? You are an athletic person yourself, right? Do you think that these kind of bring down your health down in a bit, in a way that it affects what you want to be?
Okay. A very nice thing.
Where is that silver lining?
The point is, like, there is a lot of silver lining in this. It's either you're that type of person or not. When I left, I'm not going to say I'm lucky or not, but always when I'm in corporate, regardless my position in the corporate ladder, I always saw myself the GM. And I acted as a GM. And all my direct bosses acted with me in that way. So my structure felt very well until I reached CMO. So when I was a product manager, then a marketing communication manager, then a senior, then within all these ranks, literally, I was considered the number one guy. Now put me and have a boss on my head. I'll burn him alive. So it depends on how you operate and what do you want and the vision that you want at the end. For this vision, am I willing to sacrifice? Because at the end of the day, you want to succeed. You want to know how much price you're paying. So what's you're sacrificing? So I'm happy with the sacrifice I'm doing. Yes. It could take off my health. Yes. Would take time with my fam. Yes. But I'm willing to pay this price. But I'm going to pay it back later. Because I'm not a believer of work-life balance. I am not.
Okay.
That's my type.
This is where we've done this, right? Like I've read this. This seems like a pretty straightforward philosophy, right? I agree. You agree to a lot of degree as well. But I wanted to know, is there a general consensus across the world? So what we did was we came across this study by Stanford, conducting of 167 adults, which said that taking that risk and being outside your comfort zone, pushing, in a lot of cases, in about 80% of the cases, it just didn't help at the end, right? Only 20% of the people felt satisfied and fulfilled. And if they found out that if they had a happy life, a good home, enough to satisfy their needs, they just didn't see the ultimate satisfaction or the X+1 of satisfaction when they pushed out of their boundaries. So do you feel that this type of philosophy that might work for the 20% of us may not work for the 80% of the remaining population?
Okay. The sample space is small.
Yeah, that is a problem. Yeah.
So it's small. But at the end of the day, if you tell me, Seif, what are you proud of? With all this hassle, hell, one of the big things that I'm proud of is the character that I built in myself. That makes me super proud. So whether I achieve the goal or not, I know the next goal that I'm putting, I'm going to achieve. Because I sculptured myself in a way from the character traits, from the skill sets, that makes me so proud of myself. So regardless, during this journey, if I reach this goal or not, you told me about failures, right? Yeah. Hell failures. But was I sad about the failure? No. I was super happy what I came out from it. Until now, whatever the failures I passed through, thank you for these failures. Because it made me who I am, which made me satisfied. But there is a level that comes, the brains that God gave us at the end of the day. You don't need to act as an idiot. It's not like the wall is not breaking, then I keep hitting my head in the wall that I believe it's going to break. No. You can always pivot. Correct? You just keep pivoting until you reach the goal that you want. But there are people so stubborn to a level, I'm going to make it, can work and cannot. But there are indicators. Correct? You're launching a product that doesn't make a success in the market. I love the product. No, the market doesn't like it. I'll make them like it. They don't freaking like it. No, wait, I will do some fine tune. They don't like it. Just keep hitting the wall. You will be dead. So some rationale has to come in. No, it is not working. Let me pivot a little bit. Like a lot of pivots that happened across the world. Even the Facebook, the Amazons, they are all pivots.
Yeah.
Just to cut you off there. Just backpedaling for a second. You said you would burn a boss if someone put a boss above you, right? I understand this because I spoke to someone, for example, at a previous investment bank that I was at, and he said to me something really interesting. I asked him, what's the fastest way to get to associate? The way investment banking works is analyst, associate, VP, ED. And he was an associate. So I asked him, as an analyst, what's the fastest way I can get to being an associate? And he said to me, listen, I'm an associate. I work like a VP. I think like a VP, I act like a VP, and
True.
everyone treats me like a VP, right? So it's you work for the job you think you should have, not the job that you have right now. And I completely
Exactly.
understand that,
You
right?
Well said.
But if that's the way you think, and that's the way you've built yourself up over time through fire and through tribulation, right? Then how much of your personal brand do you really give to your, say, mentorship and like leading people and all of that, like being an alpha and teaching people how to go, compared to like what is the ratio split compared to building your own business, building your marketing agency or whatever you're working on for yourself that's personal? What is the split there? How do you decide I'm going to give 50% of myself to this, helping people or young professionals, and the rest to building my own finances and my own legacy?
A very nice thing. Again, phases in my life. When I was in corporate, I would say 90% was dedicated to corporate and 10% I was testing things on the side, because I always knew that things will end. Okay. The pyramid will finish. Okay. Why? Because in my case, everybody has his own circumstances. I was a foreigner in a different country. So I know the pyramid's ending for me very fast. So I was always testing waters with others. Okay. When I moved to become an entrepreneur, your passion changed. My passion is different now than my passion back in the days. My passion now is to really make an impact. See people win. Not me win, but when you win, I win. So majority of my effort and ratio split is going to this direction. That's why I put a lot of effort in the podcast. That's why I put a lot of effort in writing books, online training platforms, seminars, conferences, because I want the impact. That's the thing which is I'm passionate about now. Was not back then. I will be a liar. It's like from day one, I was passionate about helping people. I didn't give a damn. In the beginning, I didn't give a damn about anyone, not people. I was like a train.
I think that's amazing because, I mean, not every football player can be a manager, right?
True.
You can't learn to sit on the sidelines because you have that itch. You want to get back into
True.
work. But then when you say you built yourself up like that, did that impact, and again, this might be too personal, so
Of course,
stop
go
me
ahead.
if I cross a line, but did that impact your personal life then? Because you say you didn't care about anyone.
Everyone.
You were a bullet train,
True.
right? You wanted to run through people. Did that impact your relationships?
Yes.
And the way you teach people now, if they turn into that kind of person, because you need to be that kind of person, right?
True.
For a few years, you need to be this gladiator almost.
True.
How do you teach them not to have it impact their personal life?
My goal when I was young was the sky. Okay.
So
Did I do it the right way? For my goal, it had to be done this way. Why? I was not in Dubai, which is, for example, a multicultural environment. I was in countries where I was the number 5 Egyptian in the whole, or number 10 foreigner in the country. Okay. So for me to succeed and reach my goal, I knew when I entered Samsung Russia, I'm going to be the top. And that was my goal. Whatever happens around me, I don't care. Whoever I'm going to step over, I don't care. And I'm literally saying the way that I was operating. Because for me at that time, either I make it here or what? There is no, I'm going to go out here, find a job. You're going to be back home. Correct? So I'm a fighter. I need to survive and win. And my win is reaching the top. So I was like a bullet. And I made it. When somebody comes and say, like, Seif, was this, should I do like same like you? You should do similar. Yes, you should do similar. In order to succeed with the big level, but you have to define the success for you. I can define that I want to be the best father in the world. That's success for me. I don't care about anything else. Then that is the way I want success. But if you want the success that how I saw it at that time, to become a CMO at age of 31 on all over Samsung Global, there is no family, there is no friends, there is no be kind, there is no all these things. A bullet. So it depends on the level of goal that you have. If you ask me, young, no, do that to that level. But a big portion of it, of course. And then when you reach the goal that you have, because you're the correct person by values, by principles, you try to uplift the people that help you throughout the journey. I'm consulting a company now, just ended the consultation. And the guy over there was my employee for 10 years in Russia. Okay. We were really shoulder to shoulder for 10 years. And he knows who I am and what the character that I had. In this company, he was my biggest supporter. Though he knew I'm a killer. Like throughout my career, I'm getting there. Now that guy is the one that supports me. He's my ambassador over there. Seif is doing this for the company. So people who sees you that you're doing it for the greater good will always support you. But yes, I had very minimal connection with my family at that time. Very minimal connection with even my childhood friends. Because my focus is like a laser focus. Not a lamp focus, a laser. I'm going there. Healthy or not healthy, everybody define it the way they want.
Do you still operate in the same manner? As in, when you say you were laser focused, that means you really put 100% of yourself into one thing, right? And now you're spread out. You have the book that's come out, mashallah. You have the podcast. You have your marketing agency. You have a bunch of different revenue streams. Do you find it tough now, having been a laser and a bullet train in your past, to spread yourself amongst these different things?
These are complementary things. Like also my family business runs in like the hotel management stuff.
Okay.
And in order to succeed in business, you need to have complementary or products or services or innovation that you add on top, right? So all the things that I'm doing, I'm a big fan of Warren Buffett. So when he invests in the things that they know and he knows, right? So I'm not going across different spectrum, board, whatever, and I'm trying to do things. No, whatever I'm doing right now, it fits in the big puzzle that I see in the future.
Right.
So like if I'm doing this and that, no. They complement each other in a way, even if people don't see it. But I see it, let's say 5 years from now. So it's complementary. If diversified 100%, trust me, I lose. And I've been in that position. I diversified myself so much that I couldn't, at the end of the day, control. And I lose. Focus is the killer.
Taking a slight detour, right? Like I feel like we've spoken a lot about focus and all these things. Let's take a step back, okay? You were born in Egypt, you were raised in Egypt, you started your career at Orange in Egypt. If you look at Egypt today, and if you were the leader of Egypt, what would you change in Egypt?
I had this question yesterday.
Wow.
Like unbelievable.
Because me and Anas, we bonded over politics, right? Like our conversation about Indian politics, and neither of us have lived in India.
Yeah.
And this is a very interesting part for me, right? Like, what would you change in Egypt?
Just to put it simple and straight, and don't get me banned from Egypt. I believe Egypt is a great tourist destination. A great tourist destination. Not knowing inside out of what's happening with the tourist industry in Egypt, my 100% focus is to make Egypt a tourist destination, a hub for entrepreneurs, a hub for production, because the workforce is... These are the main things that I see that I can tackle right away without even taking into consideration the small thing, the big picture, from a big picture. Yeah.
And what do you think is hindering that vision?
And what do you want? Tell him something. Different visions. Different visions. No, absolutely different visions. Like whatever the leader of a country or a company or they have a particular vision. A person that wants... I believe now, like the president of Egypt is focusing on the industrial part of Egypt. So that's the main focus. You saw everything. All the money is flowing over there.
Correct.
My vision is going to be different. I want to focus on tourism. I want to focus on entrepreneurs not because it's the trend. It's because it drives the economy.
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to focus on, these are the particular things that I'm going to focus on. So it depends on the vision that the leaders have. They drive it the way. I'll tell you even an example. There is a company that's driven by sales, and there are different companies driven by marketing, right? And that's the leader. I believe that give me the top line, sales. I don't care the marketing. Just make me a price promo, a retail execution, and that's it. Another leader, build me the brand. I want the brand that resonates. So I pull the client, then I push the product. It's an absolute vision game.
And this is like, how we define, like, I'm a political junkie, right? Like, I love politics quite a lot. And how we define this is kind of like slightly to the economic right, right? A question that I typically have with similar mindset and similar vision, similar focus is that how do you see social infrastructure being a part of a country, or how do you see taxation being part of a country? Do you feel like these are important aspects, or do you think industries and entrepreneurs should run and government should have less of a vision? Because these are questions that we've gone across all your podcasts. I
love it, but
we couldn't figure these out. So these are intriguing to us.
I'll answer it in a very nice way. Do I need to pay taxes? Yes. To a particular limit? Yes. But you need to give me some guarantees that it's not corrupted, that the money that I pay, I see, correct? You're not taking the money and throwing it into army that I don't see, correct? So it has to be reasonable amount. There are countries that takes up to 50, 60, 70%
correct.
even, correct? I'm not interested. You take my whole work and sweat and I pay 70% out of it. I don't agree. If I feel it's corrupted, the money is being funneled somewhere else, I'm not interested to pay taxes. And if I see the agenda of the whole country is towards, for example, military. You're taking my money, putting it in military. I thought you're taking it to build me parks and roads, correct?
Correct.
So these are the three things. Like, if I see it's not, I'll do my best. Everything has a loophole to protect myself, my interest, and my family at the end of the day.
So you think that if a loophole is legal, is it what?
Yeah, of course, it has to be legal. Otherwise, you will be smashed. Like, it has to be legal.
That's a fair argument to me.
And there are. Like, even with the big tax giants like the US, where Apple is located.
Yeah, every company has a headquarters somewhere. They'll have shell companies in Bahamas and Virgin Islands. It's a very common tactic, right? Anas, any final questions?
Yeah, I mean, before we get into how to break taxes, which we could probably have a 2-hour conversation about, we didn't speak about something lighter, right? Because you've traveled quite a bit. You're a well-traveled international man. And you really picked yourself out of Cairo and you said, okay, I'm going to travel the world and understand it. And just on that point, lighter note, but if you were to bring different principles from society or economic structure or government functioning from, for example, South Korea, Turkey, Russia, places you visited, even Dubai, into Egypt, what would you really bring? Right? So what are things that you think were amazing in different countries that you would bring to your own?
I'll tell you something very nice. We live in a city now that's having the best of everything from these structures. 100% the best. Following it is Korea. Russia is more or less the same.
South Korea. Were you in Seoul? Or?
Seoul.
Okay.
Seoul and Busan, Suwon, like different cities, but mainly Seoul. The best structure, I believe, is Dubai.
Right.
That if possible to bring to Egypt, 100%. But again, you just can't bring structures without the foundations.
Of course.
As a country, the foundations of Egypt versus the foundations of the UAE, absolutely different. So to bring a structure, put it there, no. You need to demolish something before, build it correctly, and then put the structure on. Even for Dubai, things are setting up step by step. Like every couple of years, they have a new addition. Like the corporate tax, it's just not like one time you build in that manner. But of course, where we live in now, it is the best.
Absolutely, because there's a book written, for example, in 2004 get what Sheikh was, and I'll probably get crucified for this, but how Dubai is run like a corporate and the Sheikh is the CEO.
True.
Right? Because
Yeah,
it
Sheikh
really
Mohammed,
is.
yeah.
Sheikh Mohammed, yeah.
True.
Right. So it really is building layers upon layers. And just to get your thoughts on it, if you had to lay the foundation out in your home country,
Mhm.
what would the foundation consist of?
Oof. Oh my God, that's a lovely one. Educational system from a foundation, absolute country level foundation. Educational system, health system, logistics system. If fix these three, and like I don't want to say like I go with the Malaysia school. In a way, you can't build a foundation with the old
Ruins.
rules or with the old people. When I say demolish, it means like, okay, you've done your job. Whether I'm happy or not doesn't matter. But I'm starting a new era. Correct? Whether it's good, whether it's bad. Okay? So demolish. I move everything and I get new blood. And I think everybody can understand what does mean a new blood with new principles, values, and Malaysia style. And from these, you build the educational system, you build the health system, you build the logistic systems. Logistic systems means the hubs, the ports, the roads. And then after that, you start building the country that you want to have.
That's brilliant. And
But before that, it's impossible. Even before the step one. Before step one, which is demolish. Unfortunately, it has to happen.
This is what happens like when we do coding and things, right? Sometimes the code's too messed up. We just,
Exactly.
scrap it and start.
Exactly.
Because
It's too
sometimes
much.
starting from scratch is much easier than fixing a broken code,
Rooted.
right? Because there's so many things that going on in like a society. There is your cultural, your past experiences, people, right? So in theory, yes, it makes sense, right? But practically, it doesn't make sense, right? It is impossible.
Malaysia is a great example of that. A great example. Demolish everything. And you can see Malaysia now.
Yeah.
Demolish everything. And the first pillar that they started with education afterwards.
thank you so much for that.
I think
might be
that's
our
a-
time for today. Yes.
That's
Super, I
a
appreciate it.
beautiful
It was
conversation.
a great conversation because it's absolutely different from any conversation that I had.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Seif, for
Thank
coming.
you.
Right.
Yes, brilliant.
you to you
Thanks
as well.
for the entire production team.
Thank you.